So recently, the BAFTA award ceremony had happened, and BAFTA is one of the more well-known, I guess, bigger ceremonies. Not as big as like the Oscars, the Golden Globes, or anything, but it's up there. It's like the British version of like the Oscars, the Golden Globes. So that was, it was a pretty big event for film and television that night, especially in the UK. And the big story that came from that was some controversy over disabilities and racism, if you can believe that. And it's not even like someone was ableist and racist, right? Rather, the two clashed in that there was a man there by the name of John Davidson who is a Tourette's activist. Someone who I don't know about activist is the right word, but he is very outspoken about Tourette's, and I guess activist is the word. I don't know. But anyways, he's very outspoken about Tourette's and educating people on that, and because he is a man suffering from Tourette's himself. And he was there because there was a movie made about him called I Swear, about his life and his struggles with Tourette's and, trying to overcome all that. Well, there was an instance that went pretty viral of him saying the N word with the hard R when Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were on stage presenting an award. And that kind of blew up like crazy because obvious reasons. And, this should have been essentially a non-story. Just, it was done, say sorry, move on. But you see, that's not how the world works because people think they know better than they do, and that people are upset over a guy having a disability. All the problems in the world that exist, elites doing horrid things, and we're worried about a guy who simply has a disability that he cannot control. Now, Tourette's is just that. It is a disability where you get tics, right? Involuntary tics. Things just come out. Words just like come out, and oftentimes it's verbal. Oftentimes it's movements, gestures, and you can't control what you say. You can't control the things that are said. Especially in his case, I can't remember the exact word that is his condition. Here it is on the screen. That's what it is, and that is like it's words that you don't even use on a daily basis. It's words that it's your brain, and when you're in a comfortable situation, your brain picking the worst possible thing to say. And that's what people are having to explain to people online, and people are just not having it. So people were saying things like, I don't believe this Tourette's thing. Out of all the words he could say, he chose the N-word, really. He said what has always been in his heart, no excuses. You don't shout out words he doesn't know or uses. Great English. His brain thought it, and his Tourette's told on him. He meant it. And it's very evident that these people don't know what Tourette's is. Almost like there's a movie out there that educates people on Tourette's and shows real-life examples of Tourette's being an issue and real-life examples of what Tourette's is. Interesting, isn't it? And look, if you're upset by the word being said, understandable. No one's telling you not to be upset. But don't be upset that a guy has a disability. That's the underlying issue. Obviously, racism is an issue. Like, that's indisputable. But racism wasn't really in play here. It was simply a disability. Tourette's. This guy was not racist. Yes, he said a word that was racist. It doesn't make him racist. People have come out and are like, well, why is that word in his vocabulary? Because everyone knows the word. The word is in everyone's vocabulary. A word simply being in your vocabulary doesn't mean you use it. Everyone is aware of the word. Everyone knows the word exists. And it's how we know that the word is bad. It's how we know what not to say. You'll never find someone who doesn't know what the N-word is. And like it's people are just being outright ableist about it. I don't like you saying this is ism, but this is outright ableism. The way people are treating this, people are saying he chose what he said. He knew what he was saying. He chose to say this. No, he did not. It's simply untrue. It was said, but he didn't want to say it. He even left the ceremony early because he felt so embarrassed. He felt so appalled by what he said, and he apologized later on. I would have called him everything under the sun, then apologized after, just like they do. Who is they? What are you talking about? And I would press charges for offensive conduct, and I hate that they ignored it because he needs to learn about his actions. Honestly, I would have walked off because that's just disrespectful. He needs to learn from his actions? Lady, it's Tourette's. He doesn't have an option. He doesn't have a choice. His actions were not his choosing. This is just kind of what he was born with. It just kind of exists. And they use Tourette's as an excuse. There's no excuse for that, no matter what. That was intentional. He said that with his chest, meant that. If he didn't, he wouldn't have aimed it only at black people. Again, that's how Tourette's works. It shows up at the wrong time, at the worst possible time. These comments are what makes racisms okay. Nothing but excuses. The guy also called a black woman near him the N-word. He has Tourette's, but what he says is a thought that builds off rage, dislikes, stress, and anxiety that displays an uncontrollable outburst. What are you talking about? You don't know what a Tourette's is. If this is what you're saying, if what you're saying is, well, he knows what he's saying because he meant what he said and this is blah, blah, blah. That's not how that works. Because Tourette's is a white privilege condition. Any black kid with this condition gets it beat out of them early. They'll learn how to control it by school age. They will say rice and peas before they say anything rude or nothing at all. They will find a tic to counteract their tic. White kids, on the other hand, will hate their parents from birth without ever being touched. Zero correlation behavior, zero physical consequences. That's why you see it in their culture. It's a culture that prioritizes individual expression over societal conformity. That's why.
Man, what the f*** is you talking about?
What was that?
I'm sorry, man. I wasn't thinking about it.
So we're going to straight racism now. We're going to and not understanding Tourette's. Also, what is the schizo rant that you're going on about? What are you talking about? Black people with Tourette's get it beat out of them. No, that's simply not true. First of all, Tourette's is not a thing that can just be cured. All right, especially in extreme cases. You can't beat Tourette's out of someone. That's like the whole electroshock therapy thing for gay people. It's like, what are you talking about? Calling Tourette's a white privilege thing is utter nonsense, because there are several black people who have Tourette's, several black creators who have Tourette's that have spoken on this issue, and they're all saying the same thing essentially, which is this sucks, but it's not his fault. What happened is unfortunate, but he cannot be to blame because he did not choose this. Please tell him we do not accept his apology. We understand the condition. The word was in his thoughts and in his vocabulary. First of all, you do not know his condition. Clearly, you do not understand his condition if you're just going to be like, well, we don't accept what he said. First of all, no one owes you a thing. No one apologizes to you because who are you? Who is this guy? No one owes you a first and foremost. Secondly, yeah, I mean, you don't understand Tourette's. If you're going to go out and claim that he knew what he was saying, this was in his heart, so therefore, you don't know Tourette's. You don't understand. It's essentially what it all boils down to is people don't know. And it's one thing to not know and want to understand, which several people are like understanding and they're trying to understand because they are asking questions, which is amazing. It's great that people are asking questions about it because they don't understand it. That's fine and dandy. But a very concerning number of people clearly don't want to understand. They're coming out of the woodwork saying, he's wrong, he's a garbage person, he sucks, he's racist. And when you try to explain to them what Tourette's is, they go, I don't care, it's blah, 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 blah. This word isn't just bad as it is. Granted, the N-word is a very bad word. Bad as it is, it's not if you use it regardless of circumstance, you're evil and you should die. Especially in this instance, right? If you choose to use it, that's one thing. He didn't choose to use it. And the fact that people don't want to be educated on Tourette's to try to understand what this condition is, you're showing your ignorance. You want to claim that he's ignorant for the word being used, but you're ignorant for not wanting to learn about Tourette's. It's kind of like, it turns into the Victim Olympics, basically, where it's like, yeah, you're struggling with this condition, but me, and it's selfish. Right? And the only people that are really upset about this are perpetual victims. That's really what it comes down to is perpetual victimhood, where the people that are so upset about this are just, they feel as though the world is against them already. They're victimized by living, by the air that is being breathed. And so they don't want to understand. That's what it comes down to. They don't want to understand. They'd rather just stay in that victimhood mindset. This isn't like a racist, like, yeah, black people just want to be victims. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is the people that are specifically upset are wanting to be victims, essentially. At least it's what it comes off as, is it's a lack of understanding. It's easier to be a victim than to understand, basically. And the man did come out and apologize. He apologized to the two presenters that were affected by it. But apparently that's not enough because people feel as though he owes the world an apology. First of all, honestly, it could be argued whether or not he owes anyone an apology, because essentially you're asking someone to apologize for their disability, which is very bad, very wrong. No one should apologize for their disability. And if he chooses to apologize, which he did, he should apologize to just those affected, right? He doesn't owe Randy from Omaha, Nebraska an apology for, I don't know, a word that the guy heard on TV or through the internet. Because the dude's not a victim of anything. Randy from Omaha is not a victim of anything. Dude should have stayed home if he can't control his outburst. First of all, he was there because there was a movie made about him that was up for a bunch of awards. Secondly, what you're asking for is segregation. You don't want someone around you who doesn't make you comfortable. You don't want someone around you who makes you uncomfortable because they are the way they are without choice. That's another thing is a lot of people want segregation. A lot of people are like, I should have stayed in this room away from everyone else. Why? Because he just exists. Because a guy with a disability just exists, and you don't like people with disabilities, so they should just be off somewhere else. No, you're a garbage person for that. Jamie freaking Foxx even said, nah, he meant that. He meant that? Jamie Foxx, major Hollywood actor, his biggest role was playing Ray Charles. You know who Ray Charles is? A blind man. And Jamie Foxx spent a lot of time with Ray Charles when studying this role. So basically, a guy who played a man with a disability is hating on a man with a disability, not understanding a disability. And it's just upsetting to see. Another thing is, like, people are, like, going at this man's throat. Like, people talking about how they beat him simply for that. And it's like, how bad is your impulse control if a guy just simply has a disability and you want to beat him up for it? That's objectively ableist. So I'm an avid church goer, right? The church I go to in Florida, not my home church in Texas, but the church I go to in Florida, there's a family there there's a couple there who has a son who is in a wheelchair bound and clearly has disabilities, right? He, in the middle of church, will make sounds, very loud sounds, sounds that admittedly are distracting, right? When I'm hearing the word of the Lord, I get distracted by this kid making sounds, and I get over it. Why? Because I know this kid was born this way. He didn't choose to be this way. I'm not going to get mad at him for simply existing because it wasn't his choice to have a disability. That was the card he was dealt in life, and it is what it is, right? While I have to live with this loud sound through church for a few hours, he has to live with this disability the rest of his life. So why should I be upset? Why should I be upset at him for something that he has to deal with every freaking day? And the same goes for this guy. He has to deal with this disability every day of his life. He's had to deal with it every day of his life for the entirety of his life. He's had to say sorry to everyone for everything he's ever said. He has said some awful things to other people that he did not mean, but other people understood that he did not mean it. If a blind person walks and bumps into you, do you just get upset with them? Just start screaming at them, hey man, you know what? You need to watch where you're going, bro. Watch out. I'm standing here. No, you see they're blind. They may apologize, and you move about your day because they didn't want to bump into you. They didn't choose to bump into you. That's just something that happened because they're blind. That's the way they are. The reaction to this has been just atrocious from some people, just not understanding disabilities and just marginalized groups at this point. And I thought we as a people were better at recognizing disabilities such as this and sympathizing with them and trying to understand them and not hating on them just simply for having a disability. I thought we were more accepting of people with disabilities, but it's pretty clear, cut and dry that is not the case, that we still need to understand. And what sucks is, like, yes, people still need to understand. People will need to learn, but it's to the point where they don't want to. Simply because, like I said, perpetual victims, where this word that they know is bad, everyone knows is bad, somehow trumps everything ever. Everything that has ever happened, every hardship that this man has been through, every disability in the world. This one word, yes, it has history to it. Yes, it's a bad word, but it somehow, regardless of the situation, somehow trumps everything. Donald Glover had a joke about this in one of his comedy specials.
So, like, I didn't say anything, but the whole time in my head, I'm thinking, like, how do I get this midget to call me a so I can call him a midget? Because when you get called the N-word as a black person, you can do anything. It's like getting a gold star in Super Mario Brothers and jump. I hear the music when I hear the N-word. I'm like, you know, like, I get it right into it. I get really into it, you know? And you can do anything. Like, you can be in a fancy restaurant and just start throwing poop at the walls. And people be like, what are you doing? Somebody called him the N-word. Oh, yes, Obama, yes.
And I was like, okay, that was funny. And somehow it's raining true. Somehow it became reality. Overall, it's just an unfortunate situation for all parties involved. It's unfortunate for the presenters. It's unfortunate for the man with Tourette's. It's unfortunate for everyone. People are getting mad at the wrong person. At most, get mad at BAFTA for even airing it, which it can be argued that not airing his tics can be seen as ableist because you're intentionally kind of shielding that disability. Where you're like, yeah, let's not let his disability be put on display. But that's an argument you can have. But apparently they could censor it and they chose not to. So blame BAFTA. Don't blame the guy with Tourette's. Honestly, just don't hate on the guy for simply existing and having this condition that he did not choose. Educate yourself on Tourette's and understand that he did not choose to be this way. He did not choose to have this disability. It's not like he doesn't try. He listened to the actual people on the internet with Tourette's who are trying to explain what Tourette's are. Especially there's this one creator that I saw. She had it pretty bad, throughout her video where she explained it and even said, people would get slur tics sometimes. She said, even I have them, and I don't even use the word. Just try to understand, because you at least try to understand, because you don't want to is the issue. You have to want to understand, but you don't want to. And that's what the underlying issue is. You don't want to understand, therefore you will not understand. Therefore, you're just going to blame everyone else for simply existing, right? Racism is bad. Ableism is bad. Don't be either.